And it says we are live. It is the 8th of November, 2024. 5x5 says Berkey Emmons. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. Chris W. Radiation Science 5x5. We're going to talk about that this morning. I've got the written brief for you here, as well as the national intel ascent into intel. Excuse me, intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. That's where you're going to send your intel. What's the email address? Guys, come on. Let's all do better. Right now, my voice coach, yes, I have a voice coach, is telling me that I need to sit up. I need to have high tongue and mouth open and chin up and speak better. All right, I'll speak better. Yes, I hired a voice coach, not because I don't like the sound of my voice, but because I'm trying to say the F word less. And these are facts. Now, excuse me, it's the 8th of November, 2024. I'm a little under the weather, which apologies to the patrons. That's why we didn't do a live stream last night. I just wasn't feeling well enough to do it. But, there's always next time. Subscribe, ring the little bell icon, do all the things. Welcome to all the noobs. The show is brought to you by Yahweh, your Elohim, the Lord your God, the creator of the universe. Whether or not you believe in him, he believes in you. It's brought to you by the fine people over at refugemedical.com. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief shilling officer, American-made first aid kits best on planet Earth. And of course, the fine people at Patreon, the economic engine of the Bear Nation. Shall we read? Yes, we shall. Bear Independent Brief, 8 November 24. This is going to come as a shock to many of y'all, but Donald Trump has won the election, making history as the first convicted felon to be elected to the highest office in the nation since convicted felon. We all know that the White House has been filled with felons for a hot minute, 50, 100 years, possibly longer. But convicted felon in the nation's history, since he was convicted in New York of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records back in May, which we all know. Those felony counts and those falsifying business records, those were trumped up charges, no pun intended. And the gravitas of the situation was minimal. All that was done in an effort to keep him out of the White House in the first place. Sentencing for those convictions has been delayed until the 26th of this month, November. As far as the two federal criminal cases against Trump are concerned, according to reports, the Department of Justice is looking for ways to let them, quote, wind down to comply with its policy of not prosecuting sitting presidents. Sitting presidents. I'm interested. We all know the answer to this, but wouldn't it be cool if the DOJ, the Department of Justice, just had a stack of charges waiting for Kamala and for Biden on January the 7th? Wouldn't that be cool? That would be super cool. They're not gonna, but it would be, oh, good job, guys. You actually did that job that we pay you to do. Speaking of pay you to do, I have interesting thoughts on that later in the brief. Coffee. On top of Trump's win, Republicans have also taken control of the Senate and have made gains in the House. So the shift is not insignificant. The Democratic Party is finally forced to take a hard look in the mirror to find out exactly how it is failing to resonate with voters. Senator Bernie Sanders, who somehow inexplicably is still alive, put it bluntly when he spoke of the presidential race, quote, will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic and political power? Probably not, end quote. Now, what's interesting is that Bernie Sanders considers himself somehow outside of the oligarchy, the political elite, the big money interests and well-paid consultants. I mean, the guy's your typical communist, right? He cries equality for everybody, equity and equality and all that, and that he's worth tens of millions of dollars. He's got millions of dollars in real estate. He's been a career politician his entire life. He's never got a callus or even a boo-boo on his hand. But somehow he's just a working class guy. Negative. He is correct, though, that the Democrats probably need to engage in some introspection. Now, remember, the Democrats and the Republicans are two wings of the same terrible bird. Okay. I'm a registered independent, bare independent, and that's not a political thing. It's because I want you to be independent of the broken, fragile system. Squimmed comes from a middle-class family. 100%. Yeah, he does. He comes from a middle-class family. Do those even exist anymore? I think it's peasant class now. So while reading the words of Senator Bernie Sanders this morning and his call for introspection, I figured I could give the Democrats a couple of hints here. So just off of my 10, just off the top of my head, I've got 15 different things right here that I just scribbled onto my paper that they might want to consider why they lost this election. In no particular order here. Air quote reproductive rights. No, the country has rejected that. We don't get to kill babies. We don't get to kill babies in the womb. There's a 100% chance that clump of cells will turn into a person given enough time. And that was kicked to the states. It's not a federal issue. It should have never been a federal issue. And all the rhetoric around Trump getting elected, removing a woman's right to choose was bullshit anyway, because that's ensconced at the state level now. And the rhetoric, the narrative around that is abominable. So rejection of the air quote reproductive rights, rejection of the trans bullshit, men in women's bathrooms and dressing rooms, men in women's sports, the mental, what's the word I'm looking for here? The mental disorder of I feel like a girl today, therefore I must be one. No, that's delusional. And I am in no way required to participate in your delusion. So the rejection of that. Next, drag queen story hour. Having the sexualization of our children and the alternate sexual ideology, sexualization of our children. Negative. TQ check, right arm, said Shrek. All right. I won't even grab it with my right arm since I'm hitting the right arm. Shrek, is that you, Mr. McPhee, Sheriff of Baghdad? TQ check, right arm. So, drag queen story hour and all the bullshit that goes with that has been rejected, as it should be. Next. Immigration, illegal immigration, and the using of taxpayer dollars to bring these people into the country and then to actually transport them in here, to allow them to skirt the established laws of the land and then pay them to be here. California giving away loans up to loans and grants from $35,000 to $150,000 per individual for first-time home buyers. New York City spending, putting $3,500 a month in SNAP benefits on the cards for these illegal immigrants, while the rest of the country can't afford to buy gas and groceries, can't afford to buy a house or make their mortgage payments, can't afford to rent, isn't getting enough hours at work because the economy is in the gutter. All that immigration. I think a huge moment in a negative way for the Democrats was when Kamala told that person, "You're at the wrong rally," when they brought up the name of Messiah. "You're at the wrong rally. That rally's down the road." Oh, got it. You really are a Satanist. Later. And while I disagree with most Democrats on most things, I agree with their fundamental constitutional right to have whatever political beliefs that they have. And I believe that a lot of these people are good people, just to be perfectly clear. My sister-in-law is a Democrat that lives in Seattle, and I actually enjoy hanging out with her. You know what we don't do? We don't talk about politics because she and I have very different beliefs. But we have, on occasion, dug into why do you think that? Why do you feel that way? And what I found, at least in this instance, is that we both identify problems. We both agree those problems should be addressed, but our methodologies for addressing those problems are wildly different. And that's okay. All right. She's not a bad person. She and her friends are not bad people. They think wildly differently than I do when it comes to governing. Okay. But when people like that, who, for example, my sister-in-law, who attends church with her family, here's Kamala Harris say, "Oh, you're at the wrong rally." The Democrats really should. Oh, TQ's on good. The Democrats really should reconsider that. We now have the data that indicates clearly that the 2020 election was stolen. That's why I vacillated back and forth between voting doesn't matter, maybe it does matter. Can they steal the election? Will they steal the election? Well, we now have the data. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. got 81 million votes. Just look at the graph to the trend of the votes that have been cast in the last 4 or 5 presidential elections. It's obvious that they stole the elections. It's also obvious that the only states that Kamala won in this election are the ones that don't require ID or voter registration in order to vote. What's up, Liberty? Everybody else in the chat? Trevin says, take it off. So the 2020 election being stolen is probably something that Democrats want to look into as well, as far as their messaging and their ethos is concerned. I'll move quickly on the rest of these. How about the Ukraine war and the Israel war? Yeah, no more freaking unnecessary wars. How about Biden's health being lied to for 4 years? Oh, Biden's absolutely fit to serve, fit to lead. He's good to go. And he's clearly in cognitive decline. Negative. How about the fact that the Democratic Party appointed Kamala? She wasn't primaried, she was selected. How about the fact that Epstein's list and Diddy's list have not been released, and all the people who were publicly saying, hey, you got to vote for Kamala, all of these people were probably likely on. We have pictures of these people together. Epstein's list, Diddy's list, or both lists. Yeah. How about the devaluing of the United States dollar and the economic concerns that creates, as well as the inflation that we're all experiencing? So you're telling us everything's fine, the economy's great, when people can't afford to live. I don't want more of that. Nobody else, clearly the nation didn't want any more of that either. How about the tyranny of COVID? Fauci and the World Health Organization and the federal government and state governments. We're going to talk more about that in the national intel as well. It said you must do this thing and these 2 other things, or you don't work here anymore. You can't live here anymore. You will be arrested for exercising your First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, 10th Amendment, etc. Yeah, outright rejection of that. How about myriad First and Second Amendment infringements and erosions? The deplatforming on this channel. This channel, by the way, just this channel on this platform, I have 2 channel strikes. They don't fall off at any point. YouTube can give me a 3rd, and when they do, the entire channel will be deleted. Oh, blood flow. Sweet, sweet blood flow. The entire channel will be deleted. And then what? Well, from there on, who cares? Who cares? That's why we have an alternate channel, Blue Collar President, on YouTube. and then the Patreon channel, link in the description, and then the email blast at bearindependent.com, and then the socials. And then, Bear, you should get on Rumble. Shit, I've been on Rumble for 1.5 years, 2 years. The fact that people keep saying you should get on Rumble shows you how effective Rumble is. Okay? But myriad First and Second Amendment infringements. And then lastly is an overall category, America Last policies. We are not the policemen of the world. We shouldn't be. We are not the we're not the banking system of the world. We don't loan to everybody else. You can only give for so long. It's positions of strength. We're not strong. And yet they want us to continue to give to everyone else when things are falling apart here. To what end? What's the motivation on that? I think it's intentional. I think they've been trying to destroy the country in a controlled demolition so that they can manage the process of destroying the country, extract wealth from that while they do it, and then do a handoff to one of our enemies, probably China. Well, the American people rejected that. It doesn't mean we're out of the weeds yet. It doesn't mean the problem's over. I'm thankful that Trump got elected, even though as a human being, I don't love Donald Trump, but I like his policies far better than Kamala. But he's not even in office yet. Okay. Biden's still in office. Kamala's still the vice president. Expect the possibility, the potential for them to ramp up the shenanigans in between now and January 2025. Speaking of, back to the written brief. Fortunately, this transition of power is much more graceful and smooth compared to 2020 as Kamala Harris called to congratulate Donald Trump and urged her supporters to accept the results of the election. Cities across the Estados Unidos prepared ahead of the election, boarding up windows and erecting barriers. While there have been a few small protests, there does not yet appear to be significant or widespread outbreaks of social unrest in response to the election results. Now, I think there's a lot of contributing factors here. Mike Shelby at Forward Observer has been doing a good job of explaining the potential for chaos in these situations. S2 Underground has touched on it as well. Shout out to both of those channels. First of all, remember that George Soros is retired. His son is now running the operation, and a lot of what we saw in 2020 was funded by Soros. That particular summer of love. Well, he's not at the helm of that ship anymore. And there's been a lot of conjecture, a lot of opinion on whether or not his son would continue to radicalize indigenous populations of nations for political gain and for monetary gain. And if he is, he hasn't done it near to the extent that his father has, or he's doing it far more quietly, or he hasn't started yet. But that's a major contributing factor, billions of dollars that have not been poured into the grassroots resistance in this election cycle. Sorry, I hear a baby in the other room. No. Okay. Sounds like it's okay. She's reacting to turkeys trying to fly, apparently. Widespread protest, yada, yada, yada. Again, I will repeat again, we still have to stay vigilant in between now and January and after January. We have to stay vigilant, period. Just because Trump got elected doesn't mean we're out of the woods here. And there's still a window of opportunity for very bad things to happen, potentially. Let's see. Media outlets and voters are saying loud and clear that the reasons Trump was elected was because, quote, things were better then, end quote. From the price of eggs to the price of a house, people worn out from stretching their dollars thin just want to hit the rewind button. But of course, tracking the numbers over the past few years, it appears that Trump is already inheriting an economy that's seeing the light of dawn once again. Gosh, I hope so. So what do analysts expect to see in the economy as a result of this upcoming presidency? Here's where things get interesting. Because Trump's been talking about most beautiful word in the whole language, the big dictionary, excellent. Merriam-Webster, love him. Tariffs, it's beautiful. It's more beautiful than love. I love tariffs. I tariffs. They're the best, tremendous. Start with a T like Trump, T, tariffs, tariff, T. Believe it, T, like they put in the ocean in Boston, that tariffs, T. They're beautiful. Okay. So bear this in mind. Some of Trump's campaign promises were to cut taxes. Check, I'm in. Deport immigrants. Check, I'm in. Hike tariffs on all imported goods. I think. Check. I think. I don't really know. I haven't seen this in my lifetime. I don't have any historical data to go off of. Where's the wig? It's up there. The wig generally, like, guys, listen, the Trump wig, there's usually a glass of whiskey involved when the Trump wig comes out. Not in the mornings. Coffee. Kofefe. We're back to Kofefe, boys and girls. We're back to Kofefe. These tariffs, they're beautiful. They're terrific. Trust them. Large fry? Would you like a large fry? 15. I've worked at McDonald's 15 more minutes than Kamala. Tariffs on all imported goods and increased political influence on the Fed. I definitely think the Fed needs to be reined in. Gary Grimm, I respect your work, Bear. Yes, we must be vigilant. Thank you for the super chat, Gary. As for the tariffs, remember that Trump proposed a 10 to 20% tariff on all imported goods and 60% for imports from China. All this has become easier with more Republicans gaining control across the Senate and the House. All right. Well, first of all, tax cuts. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it plausible? Could we, please, just hear me out, please. I don't issue many pleas from my desk, but Mr. Trump, if you're watching, burn the mother effing IRS to the ground. Burn it down. J6, you thought that was an insurrection. You should see what I'm going to do to the IRS. You're going to need so many burn buckets from Refuge Medical. It's going to be amazing. We're going to load the B-52s with burn dressings and carpet bomb Washington, D.C. Because when the IRS goes up, it's going to be beautiful, tremendous. Giant ball of fire, bigger than the sun, people. I'm telling you. Burn it to the ground. Make it go away. At 87,000 pages of tax code. If this doesn't illustrate government bureaucracy, make it go away. Just please, from one business owner in Eastern Oklahoma to the President of the United States of America, make it go away. Yeah, World 2IC. Hopefully Joel Salatin will help the Trump teen and RFK Jr. Yeah, I'm thrilled that Joel Salatin has been tapped as an advisor to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Thrilled. If you don't know who Joel Salatin is, feel free to research him. Polyface Farm and his son Daniel. I've met the both of them. I've recorded content at Polyface. It's on Patreon with Daniel, talking about regenerative agriculture. Incredible people, beautiful facility, real working farm. I'm thrilled by that. I've also been in an abusive relationship with government my entire life. And so I'm hesitant to get too hopeful too early. And I think psychologically, it is completely off script now, but I think psychologically, if we all kind of step back and examine our relationship with government, I think it's reasonable to say we've all been in an abusive relationship with government. All of us. And, I love you, baby. Why are you beating me? Well, it's because sometimes you just make me so angry. But I love you. I know I got stuff to work on. Don't leave me. Okay, I love you too. Okay, well, like, this is unhealthy. This is unhealthy. So I'm hopeful that Joel Salatin and RFK and Tulsi and JD Vance. I still don't trust Vivek Ramaswamy, and I can't put my finger on it, but my gut, my intuition says something's wrong with that man. There's just something about his face. I don't like his face. I want to punch his face. And I don't mean that, I do mean that physically, but I mean intuitively. There's something there. I don't like Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and he's running plays back here that are not in the light of day, that at some point will be exposed, and we'll find out, oh, that guy's a piece of shit. That's just my gut. I can't substantiate that. It's 100% opinion, but intuitively, I don't like him. There's something about him I don't like. But I'm hopeful that the government will just do its damn job. Stray kitten. I don't like Vivek's hair. Me either. I don't like Vivek's hair either. Yeah, he's a pharma guy. Well, I trust your gut. What's up, Bama Blue Eyes? So, he gives me massive Obama vibes, says Mountain Lioness. Yeah. So, Bear for press secretary. If I can do it remotely in my front yard with the turkeys, I'm in. If I actually have to be in Washington, D.C., no. I've got too many other things going on. What I would love for the government to do is to get so far out of my way and take the chains off the American economy and the American people so efficiently that even the offer of becoming press secretary for the White House is meh, not interested. Because businesses and ministries are flourishing. Local communities are flourishing. That and that's why government is supposed to be a service. You are in government service because you're giving up what could be in your personal and professional life to go serve the people of the country. But the economy and the ethos of the country have fallen so far that now when people go serve in the government, it's to extract wealth, to extract capital from the system, because there's more opportunities to provide for oneself and build generational wealth inside of the government than there is outside of the government. But I digress. All right. So yes, can we please abolish the IRS? Back to tariffs, American manufacturing. I'll tell you what, all this Chinese manufacturing shit, if you're into that, get it now, because when Trump gets in, the cost of all of that is going to go through the roof. Now, the industry that I'm in, life-saving medical equipment, I'm thrilled at the concept of Chinese tariffs because the China stuff in my industry is so bad that it will kill you. And people buy it anyway because they're like, well, I got a full blowout kit for $70 on the internet. It's like, but none of that shit works. It doesn't work. Like I destroy it on camera all the time. I have this is a rhino rescue kit that I bought this with my own money. This is supposed to be in comparable to the SOB. SOB from Refuge Medical, made in America. Look at the size difference, first of all. Okay. It's not comparable in any way. All right. The rhino one smells like death. I think I'm getting finger cancer right now. The materials are way cheaper. The coarseness of the weave, when you get it single stitching, coarseness of the weave. When you get into manufacturing like this, these are the things you look for. It's like it's all just junk. The coarseness of the weave and the nylon right there, the nylon webbing, junk. It doesn't even, the air quote Molly on the back, there isn't even a way to actually secure the Molly tabs. Okay, so that's going to go great for you. No malice clips, right? We use malice clips. There's not even a way to secure the molly. So your shit's going to get ripped off of you anyway. Then, ugh. Sorry, I just have to. I've been saving this for a hot minute, but cheap little zipper. This is their emergency trauma dressing. This is so bad. First of all, look, you can literally see through. You can literally see through how thin the elastic is. No, very little stretch. Why do I want the stretch? Because this is a pressure bandage. The more it stretches, the more pressure I can get, the more effectively I can stop bleeding. And then there's supposed to be a big gauze pad on this end, but it exploded and fell apart. It ripped off of here when I went to stretch this. It just came apart. And it's not even actually a gauze pad. It's just cotton. It's just cotton. It's like stuck in between sheets of paper towel. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I would rather use a dirty mechanics rag and duct tape, and that's not hyperbole, than this. And people are like, but I got it cheap on the internet. Okay. Here's their rolled gauze. This is their rolled gauze. Look at this. These things, these little clippy doos, they're horrendous. Horrendous. And I want to show you the gauze. Look. You can see through it. Uh-huh. Oh, that's so good. So good. I saved $10 on the internet. It's absolute trash. And then here's the last thing we'll do together. Their chest seals are garbage. Complete and utter garbage. Where did their air quote hemostatic go? I gotta just throw all this shit away. Right? So I'm personally thankful that this is going away. Here it is. Oh, it has chest seal goo stuck to it because their chest seals aren't actually chest seals. They're just sheets of plastic with it looks like commercial adhesive stuck to them. This is their soluble hemostatic gauze. And I would remind everybody, this isn't slander because none of this conforms to the Committee on TCCC, Committee on Tactical Combat Casualty Care. None of this is approved by the FDA. It's all manufactured in China. Exporter Wuji Ems Run Technology, Huizhou For You Medical Device Co. Limited, North Shanjia Road, Dongjiang High Tech Industry Park, 516005, Huzhou, People's Republic of China. Here's their hemostatic gauze. There's nothing hemostatic about this gauze. First of all, this is all you get. It's all you get. It's like not even 3 foot. It's single ply, not 6 ply. There's nothing impregnated in this gauze. You can't tell from that side of the camera, but I can tell you, this is nothing more than a strip of nylon. This is just nylon. If you pack this in a wound, because it's nylon, it won't even induce a clot like gauze would. This is just a piece of nylon. This is like what you would make a veil out of for a wedding dress. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's complete and utter garbage. Complete and utter garbage. So I say all this to illustrate I'm good with, me personally, and I feel like I just got finger cancer just from touching all that stuff. I'm good with tariffs on Chinese shit, especially that shit, because we make real stuff in America. RefugeMedical.com. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Much more compact. Name brands. made in USA, name brands like North American Rescue, Tactical Medical Solutions, TechMed, Safeguard, Medline, etc. Oh, look, a real Gen 7 cat tourniquet right there, new in the wrapper. So F those Chinese guys that are selling fake medical stuff on the internet. It doesn't break my heart at all that they're going to tariff the shit out of that, because they should, because their products are trash. Now, all the digression. Refugemedical.com. You know what? Shit, we're here anyway. I'll do this real quick. Right now, vacuum sealed kits, like these guys right here. This is a bleeding prevention kit advanced. This thing rocks. These are very reasonably priced. These start at $62. Okay, filled with stuff. North American Rescue cat tourniquet, responder gauze, compressed gauze, 2 of them. One North American Rescue responder emergency trauma dressing, 2 pairs of nitrile gloves, 1 pair of real EMT shears, 1 Mylar blanket, permanent marker, instruction card, flat duct tape. It's the same flat duct tape, literally the same flat duct tape that the United States Marine Corps uses in their IFAC. 2 real Halo chest seals, 1 package of Teleflex quick clot combat gauze, real hemostatic gauze, and 1 nasopharyngeal airway. They start at $62. Amazing. These are great gifts. You know, there's like a whole gift season coming up, and they're great for throwing in a glove box, throwing in an aid bag, throwing in a mass casualty kit. We've seen a lot, like we've had a lot of schools. Thank you, Doug Bucher. We've had a lot of schools reach out to us. They're like, Bear, we need to put together mass casualty kits. Get a bunch of bleeding prevention kits, put them in a backpack, and then you can pre-position. You can put these in desk drawers. You can put these in the nurse's station. Same thing in your office, your church, right? Pre-position these around and then fill a backpack or a sling bag up with these for your first responders. Great mass casualty kit, a great building block. This bleeding prevention kit from Refuge Medical right there. And so any vacuum sealed kit right now, we're giving away 5 golden tickets. If you order a vacuum sealed kit during the month of November, 5 people are going to win a chance to come to training on my dime, any training class we have. And if you don't know anything about anything that I just said, Refuge under the training tab has a webinar coming up, a bleeding prevention webinar coming up. That it's going to be an exclusive thing, exclusive link. It's not for Gen Pop. You buy the class, you'll get an email, private live stream link. So it's our first ever remote training that we've ever done. You can check all that stuff out and use promo code BearNation for free shipping. And yes, we still have the nylon, the flagship, the Bearfac. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Oh, I want to give a special shout out to Dark Angel Medical for coming out with the header. It only took them 2 years to rip off the travel fac that we make. So good job. We had that idea 2 years ago, and ours is better anyway. So, yep. It's weird. It's weird being at the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of product development in the tactical medical space, seeing all these other giant established companies scrambling to do what Refuge is doing. It's an odd place to be in, man. I mean, literally, Rhino Rescue from China ripped off the SOB. The header from Dark Angel Medical is a ripoff of the travel fac. Chinook Medical, fuck you guys. Oh, I said the quiet part out loud. Tried to rip off the Bearfac and then tried to our adventure bags. This bag right here tried to through a third party buy a bunch of those to provide to a client because the client stipulated had to be in that bag. Because this bag's incredible. Because we make it in Eastern Oklahoma with American hands and guarantee it forever. It's just an odd place to be in. It's just an odd place. Like, guys, I'm a better friend than enemy. Like, if you want some bags, just call me. You know. But I digress. 60% tariffs on imports from China. I'm down with that. Let's see. Antonio Fatas, an economic professor from INSEAD, 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 said that if Trump follows through fully on those campaign promises, they are expected to, quote, likely lead to a substantial decrease, end quote, in economic output and, quote, a large increase in inflation. So this dude, Antonio, was saying, hey, if we get all these tariffs, there's going to be a substantial decrease in economic output and a substantial increase in inflation. We'll see, won't we? Across the board tariffs would increase prices of imported goods for Americans, which is good because we need to encourage American manufacturing domestically here. We need to do that so that people have jobs here and can earn a living wage here. But I digress. Across the board tariffs would increase prices of imported goods for Americans, and immigrant deportations would increase company wage bills, a cost that would also be passed on to consumers. Well, if we fix the money, and I don't mean central bank digital currencies, I mean real money, that's less of a concern, isn't it? 1968 minimum wage was $1.25. When quarters were made of silver, the content of silver in those 5 quarters today, if the minimum wage was still $1.25, would have the equivalent purchasing power of $21.50 an hour. Maybe we fix the money. Maybe that's a thought. Judy Hudson, blessing to you and your family. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Likewise, sister. Across the board tariffs would increase prices of imported goods for Americans, and immigrant deportations would increase company wage bills. I don't care about that. I think the immigrants working these jobs argument is overplayed, personally, because I know a lot of people and a lot of people in business all across the country, and I know very few people that actively employ immigrants, like illegal immigrants. Very, very few people. And the ones that I do know, it's in very specific trades. And part of that is because, in their own words, they would prefer to hire American citizens, but there are none to hire because they are trades. And our children have been indoctrinated into believing that they have to go to school, then go to college, then get a degree in order to go work as an intern and then work as a low-level employee. And then sometime after 20 to 30 years, they'll get a pension, a 401k, and they can retire. And in the process are living very unfulfilled lives instead of going to trade school for 6, 12, 18, 24 months, coming out and being able to earn 6 figures day one. The trades are hurting for skilled people. That's why both of my older children are going to trade school right now, and they're doing a phenomenal job with it. And they're both already working, and they're making money while they're going to school, and they're yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I own 5 companies. Most people don't realize that. I own 5 companies. I hire a lot of people. I fire a fair bit of people too. I've never hired somebody based upon their education level. I've hired people based upon their competency level. And the two are not the same thing. So we need more Americans going to trade school. We need more Americans with dirt underneath of our fingernails. And it's a better life. Just being perfectly frank with you. There are days where I get so overwhelmed doing CEO shit that I will literally just put my boots on, walk out the front door, and grab a chainsaw or a shovel and just go work. Or just grab an axe and start splitting firewood by hand just to go work. Because it's so much simpler. It's so much better. Like, it's just, you don't need, the magnesium and the melatonin and you got to listen to this special music in order to fall asleep. That you're tired, so you go to sleep. And then you wake up in the morning and you're a little sore, but it's good because you did something yesterday. And then you just repeat. So I'm a huge proponent of the trades. I think, A, the world needs it. B, it's good for people. C, it's very fulfilling. I love it. I'm a work of my hands person. I have to put my hands on it. But I digress. Again, Let's see. Well, Nomura analysts published this quote, "We now expect just one Fed cut in 2025. Ooh, who'd have thought? With monetary policy on hold until the realized inflation shock from tariffs has passed." Okay, Fed boys. Unsurprisingly, the impacts of these policies don't just stay in America. Moreover, if trading partners retaliate with similar tariffs, then according to Investec chief economist Philip Shaw and economist Ellie Henderson, quote, "A material increase in global inflation would follow." I disagree, and I'll tell you why in a minute. "While the ensuing hit to world trade would negatively impact growth," end quote. The summary goes like this: if Trump follows through on his campaign promises, hold on to your hats, folks. While your tax bill would see some relief, rates likely won't come down as quickly, and prices are expected to go up as various policy impacts echo from pocketbook to pocketbook. Now, okay, we put tariffs on imported goods. Everybody else puts tariffs on their imported goods as well, which means it's harder to sell American products overseas. Okay, okay. Fair. That's a fair retaliation economically, tit for tat. But see, here's the mindset shift. When you're doing well, it's gentlemen, let me speak to you. Remember back in the day when you were rowdy, when you were a rough hand, right? You were out there in the world, traveling over the road, working for a living, right? And Friday night comes around and you go out to the bar. And it's been a hot minute since you've had any companionship. And so you're desperate. What does that do for your chances of finding a companion? Very, very bad. Desperation has a smell to it, it has a feel to it, and everybody knows. Okay. Versus when, let's say, you've just been covered up in companionship. You walk a little bit differently, don't you? Your attitude, your energy, just the look on your face is a little bit different. It's now a privilege to be around me and have my companionship. And that mindset shift makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it, gentlemen? Same thing with everything else. It is a privilege for your third world jungle monarchy bullshit country to have access to our American products. Fine, you want to put a tariff on it? That's fine. I will decide whether or not I want to sell you my products. It is a privilege. Okay. And so I just think with a little tweak on the messaging, a little tweak on the mindset here. Oh no, they put tariffs on all of our stuff. Good. You know what? I don't feel like importing 87 billion tons of bananas this year. Oh, well, that would destroy our economy. Sucks to be you. Anyway, you know what? Americans, we're just not going to eat bananas this year because the third world country over here thinks they want to jack with us. Whoa, hold on. All right, well, maybe there's something we can do about these tariffs. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. The other thing is maybe if we actually had an economy worth bragging about here domestically, we wouldn't need to pimp our products all the way around the world. We could just sell them here domestically where there are no tariffs for selling internally inside the markets of the United States. Just a thought. Just throwing that one out there. Now, we have mucho bonus intel. Mucho. Good morning, Bertrand. Shalom, bro. Bonus intel. Intel at bearindependent.com. What's the email address? Intel at bearindependent.com. Awesome. And I need this intel from you. I need you, boys and gerbils, to send this to me, intel at bearindependent.com. The intel you send is actual intel that you saw with your own eyes, heard with your own ears. Do not send links or TikTok posts. Bear, you got to watch this. I get that shit every day on every platform. And just know, if you send me anything, Barry, you got to watch this, I'm not watching it. I'm just simply not, for two reasons. Number one, don't have the time. Number two, I don't know what kind of shit you're sending me. And I'm very careful about what I put my eyeballs on. Okay. So I'm not watching it. Don't send it to me. What I want to know is, what have you seen with your own eyes? What have you heard with your own ears? Okay. Okay. I would like to remain anonymous due to the following inside information. I love stuff like this. This is the best. I will provide you a copy of the circulating emails Monday when I have access to my email again. It is marked not to disseminate. Oops. So feel free to share, but identity must be suppressed. You got it, homie. I've attached some documents that have even been sent to us via our in-house messaging system, WebEx. Good evening. I'm a clinical pharmacist in Asheville, North Carolina at Mission Hospital. To add to your Baxter talk, we met with Baxter the last week of October. We currently have about 7 days worth of fluids, sodium chloride, lactated ringers, D5W, D10, TPN, TPE bags, etc. At the most on a good day. 7 days worth of fluids at the most on a good day. We've been getting small shipments of fluids from day to day, but Baxter did not have good news for us. We anticipate 9 to 12 months for full recovery. We as clinical pharmacists, now remember, this is in the Asheville, North Carolina area. That's going to be relevant to further intel here in a moment. We as clinical pharmacists, let's back up. Let's just hit this real hard again. We anticipate 9 to 12 months for a full recovery. We as clinical pharmacists now have authority to discontinue any fluids on any patients, but specifically targeting keep vein open orders. Then moving to patients who are on an oral diet, and then finally discontinuing all fluids that we deem necessary. At the end of the day, patient care is suffering. Healthcare providers are not allowed to treat patients to their fullest ability. We are also decreasing volumes of TPN and TPE fluids, IV antibiotics like vancomycin, etc. We are also being encouraged to stop or discourage prescribing of IV antibiotics that are dispensed in IV bags, mini bags, etc. We are instructed to encourage prescribing of antibiotics that can be given IV push versus IV piggyback, which requires a full bag of fluid. We're also using a program called Vigilance to retrospectively review all fluid use in the entire 900-bed hospital and are encouraged to discontinue fluids and any drugs that require IV bags to administer, such as vancomycin, daptomycin, Zosyn, Protonix, etc. We've been given the authority by our medical director to have full control to stop and start all fluids and fluid-containing drugs of any kind. Next, we are also seeing some very wicked infections from the contaminated water. Where was this area? Asheville, North Carolina. Hurricane Helene. To all the people that take my content and chop it up and repost it on the internet, this is the parts you're interested in here, okay? We're also seeing some very wicked infections from the contaminated water. We're seeing a huge increase of ocular cellulitis with positive culture MRSA, staph, and VRE, vancomycin-resistant enterococcus, E. coli, and pseudomonas, all of which are very difficult to treat even with IV antibiotics, especially when you're encouraged not to use IV antibiotics that go in the bags. The ocular cellulitis has been attributed to showering in contaminated water and getting it in your eye. Ocular cellulitis can be fatal, and the eye is usually lost because IV antibiotics do not perfuse ocular and facial tissue very well, because there's not a lot of fat for it to deposit into. We're also seeing a lot of various cellulitis infections from cuts, sepsis, meningitis, and gangrene, with contact with water being the underlying cause. It's getting wild in Western North Carolina with no end in sight. Stay vigilant, friends. Next, I spent last week delivering food for World Central Kitchen. The majority of my time was spent in Hampton, Tennessee, meeting many wonderful people. Many seemed eager to talk and tell their stories. I told one gentleman I was being housed in Irwin. He told me to stay out of the water. He said several of the cadaver dogs had died, and many farm animals were suffering and sick, especially those who stood in the floodwater. 100%. That's the 87th report of this we've gotten, and I want all the rest of them too. If this is you, if you're out there seeing things like this, intel@bearindependent.com. Next, I work for one of the largest North American paper manufacturers. We have had several recent mill closures. While they tell us that these other mills are closing due to their primary products markets becoming obsolete, this is partially believable. Recent project cancellations and postponements, as well as hiring freezes, say that the market as a whole is struggling. While our primary product is a key housing building material that typically booms after a disaster, we are still slowed back due to a lack of materials. Next, I work for a large manufacturing plant in the Midwest. Our facility has one massive machine that runs continuously 24/7. Recently, we have received new SOPs, standard operating procedures, on how to manually shut down everything in the plant in the event of a malware attack where we lose control of equipment or operations of the machine. I'm unsure if this is due to a security breach or just a precaution for a threat they are finally taking seriously. Oh, I also want to add at Refuge Medical, if you click the meds tab, antibiotics tab, it will take you to Jace, but you will get a discount going through Refuge. So if you're interested in Jace meds, you can do that. Go to refugemedical.com, click the medicines tab. It'll take you to Jace, and you'll save some bucks doing it that way. And me personally, I have multiple Jace cases. I'm a fan. I've done an interview with their CEO on this channel. We vetted that company. I like them. So Rita Ripley says, that's a pretty impressive impersonation of President Trump. Thank you, Rita. Next, after attending your Responder 1 through 3 trainings, that's refugemedical.com, click the training tab, I decided to further my training and become an EMT in my county. Awesome. Good job. First, I'd like to comment that there is no comparison to the rapid and enduring lessons received in your training courses, period. Thank you. Thank you. We've heard that from the more than 5,000 students that we've taught. EMTs, paramedics, TACPs, flight medics, law enforcement officers, SWAT officers, Navy SEALs, Army Special Forces, Marines, grandmas, moms, dads, school bus drivers, office workers, forklift drivers, everybody's like, there's nothing else like this. 100%. It's impossible to describe on camera what it is. Like, it's not possible. Even the videos we've shot of training, that doesn't convey. Matt Bayer. What's up, Matt? Best instructors at Refuge. Highly recommend. Thank you. So if you want to come to class, we have a lot of classes up right now at Refuge. Don't be an ass. Come to class. And if you can't come to class, check out that webinar on the training tab. Second, I wanted to report back on 3 observations happening in our local fire rescue service. These are fascinating to me. On IV fluid status, we are to use IV fluids judiciously. There is to be no hesitation to administer to a patient who needs them, but to be conservative with all other patients. We are no longer to dispose of any expired fluids before contacting our EMS leadership. The FDA has allowed for extended use dates and provided a list of approved fluid types and lot numbers that can be extended for use. Yep, because there's no more coming for a hot minute, because Baxter, that makes 90% of North America's fluids, was destroyed in Hurricane Helene. 2, the 2024 National Fire Protection Association 1582 guidelines have changed to now include cancer screenings. Speaking to the career members of our fire rescue department, this is the first year everyone, both career and volunteer members, are being required to undergo cancer screenings in order to obtain their medical release to remain operational. Considering our county nickels and dimes every t-shirt they print for the operational staff, I imagine paying for these comprehensive medical scans is quite the expense. The cancer screen includes a fecal occult blood test and an ultrasound screening, thyroid, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, spleen, kidneys, testicles, or ovaries. They have also moved to a more advanced cardiovascular screening test. A company called Frontline Mobile Health has been contracted to provide this analysis. G, and this is from the person who sent this in. Gee, I wonder why arguably some of the previously most fit and healthy population firefighters are now being monitored for advanced heart and cancer disease markers. Did it have anything to do with the two things and the other thing? Sandy Smith, turn volume up, please. What are you talking about, Sandy? Turn your volume up. I don't know why. Ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just going to be super real with you guys for a moment. It bothers me so much when people start bitching about audio quality in the chat. I've been live for over an hour. I'm not going to let it bother me. We're going to get back to it. I've been live for over an hour. I've done this show that we're doing here right now more than 7,000 times. Same equipment, same platform, same all of that. Did you ever think maybe the issue might be on your end? Maybe your audio sucks shit. And if my audio sucks, and I'm just being perfectly honest with you, and it's a deal breaker for you, then go somewhere else. Listen to somebody else. Troubleshoot your shit first. Okay? Take the log out of your eye before you go looking for the toothpick in your brother's eye. Audio is fine. Thanks, chat. 5x5 all stream. Thanks, Glock 316. I'm just saying, like, of all the shit that we could possibly talk about in the chat, turn your volume up. No, you turn your volume up. Okay? We don't start turning knobs and dials once the broadcast is started. Okay? Also, you're looking at the production crew. It's me. There's a camera, a microphone, a laptop. You know why? Because I'm not a content creator. This is not my primary job. I don't care about production quality. My primary job is I'm a pastor and a CEO. And I don't get paid to pastor because I don't think one should. I get paid to CEO. That's where I get paid from. It's not to sit here and talk with y'all. And before anybody bitches about YouTube income, number one, you're grossly misinformed about what content creators make on YouTube. And number two, understand that what I make on YouTube covers 40% of the production costs. 40. Okay? So everybody, please, I beg you, shut the hell up about audio quality in the chat forever and always. Because especially if we're an hour into a brief, it's not going to change. It's just not going to change. Okay? Okay. Why are firefighters all of a sudden having to be screened for cardiac issues and strange cancers? What could it possibly be? Is it the foam or is it the jab or is it both? All right. And number 3 from this person, in attending a pediatric assessment course for EMS providers, the instructor acknowledged the following: pediatric meaning kids. 30 years ago, when I started my career and I saw an 8-year-old fall while running down a soccer field, I would have thought, oh, they twisted an ankle. We have to think differently now. We have to be prepared for a full cardiac arrest. When an 8-year-old falls down on a soccer field, EMS now has to be prepared for a full cardiac arrest. Why? These assholes that did this to us deserve to be swinging from the ends of ropes. And we shouldn't forget that. Donald Trump got elected. Yay, everything's fine now. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. There must be a reckoning. There must be. To borrow a phrase from Andy Frisella, these are crimes against humanity. And I agree with that. And every one of these people should be publicly terminated. Publicly. That's right, Miss Lovely Dudley. Operation Warp Speed. Every one of these people should be executed on live television for crimes against humanity. We have 8-year-olds that are going into full cardiac arrest. You have murdered that child, and you should be treated as such. Of important note, nobody debated this fact in the room, and many spoke up right away about what they were seeing with what they believed to be fallout from the vaxxed population. Thank you for all that you do. Love the briefs, love the Bear Nation community, love Refuge Medical products. I cannot wait until I can come back for another training course or join a future deployment. Thank you very much for the intel. And last, so I may have mentioned before that I'm a nuclear security officer at a power plant in North Alabama. If not, I just did. One of our officers' guard units is going to be deploying to within 20 miles of the Romanian border. No other AO indicated at all for a, quote, show of force. No indication of in whose defense or whom to deter. And here's the fun part. It's a 12 to 18-month deployment projection. For Alabama's National Guard, that's a bit longer than what they usually estimated. My personal thoughts on this is that the DoD is thinking or knows that the Ukraine conflict is about to get a lot hotter. And that is the national intel. Intel at bearindependent.com. Real quick on the ministry side, refugeruckus.com. If you want to come ruck with us to raise money for our counter-trafficking ministry, all the details. Thank you, Glock 316. All the details are at refugeruckus.com, RUCKUS. It's a 3-day event in Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's awesome. Speakers, classes, Bible study, fellowship, tug of war, and a 3 to 12 mile ruck through downtown Fort Smith, Arkansas to raise funds for Caleb House. Caleb House with a K, calebhouse.org is where you'll find our counter-trafficking ministry. There's a lot of people that talk about counter-trafficking. There's very few people who do it. Caleb House does it. We do rescue and restoration. Have been doing this for a few years now, and I can't give you all the operational details, but I can tell you this. There's very few people in the counter-trafficking space, including people who are the loudest in that space, that actually do anything. So if you'd like to, Derek, green plate carrier win. I don't know, Derek. Contact us through refugemedical.com. Just use the chat at Refuge Medical, or email us or call us. I don't know, Derek. Caleb House. If you'd like to support an organization that's actually doing rescue and actually doing restoration, more importantly, I would submit, you can come see us at calebhouse.org. grindstoneministries.com. Tactical box cutter, bless you. Thank you. Sam Off Grid, bless you. Thank you. Ilya Kostovich. Yes. Thank you, Ilya. grindstoneministries.com. You've seen a lot of what's happened in Hurricane Helene. Seeing is way different than being there. Now, not all deployments, praise the Most High, are Hurricane Helene deployments. But when some town that was barely a dot on the map gets wiped off of the map by an EF5 and nobody covers that, we'll still be there, because that's what Grindstone does. We've done some high profile things. We did Mayfield, Kentucky. We did Hurricane Helene. We did Idabel, Oklahoma. We did Rolling Fork, Mississippi. But, very few people know the name of Perryton, Texas. When Perryton got smashed, we were there. Or Barnesville, Oklahoma. When Barnesville got smashed, we were there. Or, Panama City, Hurricane Michael. We were there. Yada, yada, yada. And it's Grindstone Ministries, plural, grindstoneministries.com, because we are there to help people who've lost everything. And what most people don't realize when they come to do that is that they are actually receiving help themselves. The Father just shows up and shows off. It's amazing. It is amazing to see what the Father does in these instances. So if that's something you have a conviction to be a part of, go to grindstoneministries.com, sign up for the email blast where you'll get our op word, and then contact us, serve@grindstoneministries.com, so that we can vet you, make sure you're a good person, because not everybody's a good person. And if you're not a good person, I don't want you sleeping underneath my roof. Okay? It's as simple as that. And then prayerfully consider recurring donations to either Caleb House or Grindstone, if the Spirit leads. If it doesn't, that's good. Go do something else. Go donate somewhere else. That's fine. But if it does, grindstoneministries.com, calebhouse.org. Cindy P said, "My first Grindstone deployment changed my life forever." Bless you, sister. Me too. My first Grindstone deployment changed my life forever. It is a life-changing experience. So if that's something you want to be a part of, come see us. I already told you guys about refugemedical.com. You can use promo code BearNation. The vacuum sealed kits are where it's at month of November. So check those out. Bleeding prevention kits, the kiddo kit, the desk kit, the slick kit, which is a great EDC kit. All those things, refugemedical.com. And again, shout out to the patrons. I apologize that I could not live stream last night. I was just not well enough to do it, but there's always a next time. And with that, me and 2,000 of my homies are going to pray. Oh, good morning, Father Yahweh. Father, thank you for allowing us to wake up this morning. Father, thank you that we're not accidents, and it's not an accident that we are here and now in this time. And the fact that we exist is a physical manifestation of your will and a testament to you, that you are the great I am. When Moshe asked you, "What shall I call you? What shall I tell the children of Israel your name is?" I am that I am. And you are, and proof of the fact that you are is the fact that we're here, that we exist. So, Father, thank you for that. Father, let us not be given to a spirit of fear with all these things that are going on out there in the world and all these things that are going on in our life. Father, let us only fear you. Let us count it all joy when we fall into various trials for the proving of our faith. There's nothing that can actually hurt us or destroy us, or there's just you. Whatever is ordained. So, Father, I pray that you would continue to convict us to walk in your will, to accept your will, to be strong enough to accept your will, whatever it may be, even if, especially when we don't understand it, that we would still be obedient to you, that we would go where you'd have us go, that we would do what you would have us do, that we would speak the words that you would have us speak. Father, I pray that you would just pour out your spirit on all flesh. that we would be a lamp and a light for reproof and instruction, for healing and for comfort, and that you would give us strength in the name of Yeshua Messiah to be your hands and feet, to heal the sick and flip the tables that need to be flipped. Father, that you would give us peace that surpasses all understanding, that whatever this day holds, we would be able to face it with our chin held high, awash in your light and your love. Father, thank you for making a way for us to come home again by the blood of Messiah. Thank you for relentlessly pursuing us and redeeming us back into your house. Please continue to convict us and teach us and stretch us and grow us and make us more like the person you made us to be in the first place and less like what the world has made us. Father, let no weapon formed against us prosper. And if there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, I rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to flee. Father, convict everyone within the sound of my voice to operate in righteousness today, to not come into union with the evil and the unclean that's out there, but to walk in your light. Father, Yah, please bless these people today. Give us our daily bread. Let us not worry about anything but serving you. Father, make your face to shine upon them. Give them your shalom, your peace. Protect them today. Provide for them today. And bless them today. In Yeshua's name. Amen. Love y'all. I'm out. I'll see you when I see you. Shalom.